How's it going, everyone? It's Grizzly from Arctos Gaming, and we are doing a podcast. This is episode 6, and Dylan, take it away.
Alright, so this week we're going to be talking about a few games that we played. The games I played was The Useful Dead and Super Ninja Warrior Extreme, and Grizzly played Spelunky, Limbo, and They Bleed Pixels. And so Grizzly's going to start with one of the games he played. So go ahead.
Doesn't matter which game.
No, go whatever one. I wait. Use Limbo for the end. We'll do that last.
One was at the end. Okay,
Yeah.
so the first game, so the one game I was playing was Spelunky. So I'm kind of late to the ball game there. And what Spelunky is it's like a randomly generated platformer, like dungeon crawler game. So it's really fun. It's really, really, really brutal. So I guess like the premise of the game is like there's not really story, but like I mean there's kind of a story, but you're spelunker, and you're just kind of going into these caves to like find gold and jewels and stuff like that. And so yeah, that's what the gameplay looks like in the media center. It can be kind of fast paced. You can die super quickly. So like it's so difficult because like one of the mechanics to the game is the only way that you can restore health is by finding what is called the damsel on each level and taking her to the exit, or him or the pug. You can choose which damsel you want, so it's awesome. I like to choose the pug. And then that restores 1 health. And you can stack health, so I think you start with 4, and if you don't take any damage on the first level and save the damsel, you can get 5, and so on. So that's kind of something you would want to do kind of early in the game when the levels are easy. But the game's really, really, really challenging, and like sometimes you can just die in one move. Like sometimes you can fall down like spikes always instantly kill you, but sometimes you can like fall down like a small like area, get hit by like an arrow trap, and then maybe get hit by something else, and then like take fall damage, and you'll just die instantly. So the game can be really unforgiving. There's shortcuts, so like how the game works, as you see, this is like the mines, and he's in 1-3. It just showed. There's mines go to 1-4. And so that's 4 levels in the mines, but if you die at all in the mines, like you completely run out of health, then you go back to 1-1. And then you can unlock shortcuts by beating a level what seemed to me like 3 times. Like after you beat the mines, you run into a dungeon shortcut maker, and he goes, "Oh, can you give me a bomb?" So you give him a bomb, and then next time you see him, he'll be like, "Oh, can you give me some rope?" So you give him some rope, and the last time he'll be like, "Yo, can you give me some money?" And you give him some money. So then, like after that time, he had made the shortcut. So the game's a lot of fun. It's really, really hard. Sometimes a little aggravating, but it's really fun to pick up for like 20 minutes at a time. As I found is like the sweet zone for this game. Um, Kind of like playing any longer than 20 minutes at a time. Sometimes I get like way too angry. But just picking up for a short amount of time is like really what I feel is like what this game's really good at. So, um, yeah.
Alright, so how'd you get this game? And like how
I
much
just
was
bought
it?
it on I bought it on Steam for half off. So I think I bought it for 7.50. So I think the game retails at 15.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend it. Like, so it's sort of like I don't want to say like Rogue Legacy, but like it has like some of the same mechanics of Rogue Legacy, where you try to like you have like this randomly generated dungeon that you keep trying to get in, and like as you can see, he's like spinning a wheel. So like there's like these cool little things like that each level entails. It doesn't have the RPG aspect that Rogue Legacy has. There's no customizing your character at all, really. You can buy items inside these little shops that can help you get farther and stuff. But really, the game's up to your platforming skill mechanic. Um, I mean, it plays sort of like um, Castle. No, I wouldn't say Castlevania. You got a whip, and that's basically your only weapon. You can get more, like you can get a shotgun and stuff like that. That's like really super overpowered. But the cool thing about that is like if you're holding the shotgun, you can't carry anything else. So you can't pick up rocks to deploy traps. You can't pick up a damsel to get extra health. So you can't do a lot of stuff while you have the shotgun. And I think it only lasts for that level too. So it's not like you can keep carrying the shotgun from level to level. But yeah, I mean, it's if you want a game like if you like platformers or you like games that kind of like have randomly generated levels that you can keep trying to get farther and farther in, and you like want a challenge, I definitely think this is a really really fun game to play. Just because like you can always pick it up for like 20 minutes at a time and play it, and it should be like it should always just be fun. Like if you're into the kind of game, it will always be fun. Like if you're not, then you might be wasting your time. Like if you don't like these kind of platformers, then you'll probably not like the game. But if you do, it's like one of those games where you can just kind of keep on playing. So I like really recommend it. I'm not like the biggest fan of the game, but like I enjoy playing it for like like if I get mad at StarCraft or another game, or I just want a game to kind of pick up and play. It's really fun for that. So, but it does get really, really, really difficult and unforgiving. So you have to like actually be really good at the game to make it pretty far. So.
So
Yep.
like the difficulty, is it just you die like through kind of like stupid means that like you kind of have no control over, or is it all like pretty skill based?
It is pretty skill based. I'll give it that. So what you can do is it's like really hard to kind of. I don't know if this video will show any of it or not, but like when if you want to like look down, like if there's a big gap that you can't see like down and you have to jump down that way, you can like hold the down button, like the directional button, and you'll actually like the screen will move down and like give you like a preview of what's below. So it's not like, oh, I have to make a leap of faith and I have no idea what's under me and I died because of that. So it's usually pretty balanced in the fact that like stuff doesn't like kill you for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like sometimes the luck of the draw is kind of bad because of the randomly generated levels. Sometimes you get to some really difficult zones that like you wouldn't normally have. So in that regard, you can get unlucky. But like they do a good job of making sure that every single time you play, there's a pretty obvious and easy way to get to the end. And then the only things that like are harder to get to are the secret treasures and like the damsel and stuff. That makes it challenging and not as easy to get to. So it's really fun. I would give it like, well, rating it like it's hard to explain because like if you're like super into the genre, I feel like this is a fantastic game, and I know a lot of people who love this game. Like Spelunky is a huge game, and a lot of people love it. But like if you're not into the genre as much like I am, I'd probably give it like a maybe a 7 or 8, just because like the game is flawless. There's nothing like wrong with the game at all. But like it's the entertainment value sometimes isn't always there. Like sometimes you'll get far in a level or you'll not get far in a level. Sometimes you'll just die a bunch of times really quickly and stuff like that, and it's like so aggravating. Or like you'll get really close to like what would be like the new zone and you die. And like I know that's like kind of what platformers are, is about like just like kind of being unforgiving because like platformers you can just die usually in one hit if you like fall off something. So yeah, I don't know. Like I really like the game, but like it's not my favorite. So yeah, like a 7.5, really.
So normally this game is like what, $15?
Yeah,
Would
like a
you
normal.
would you recommend it for 15, or would you wait for the sale?
Well, I'm glad I waited for the sale. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I didn't buy it for 15. But like I'm still glad I own the game. Like I'm not like, oh, I wish I would have gotten it for like less. Like I'm still pretty happy with my purchase. I don't have like that much time on it now, but like I'm definitely going to continue playing it. Like I want to beat the game. Like it's good enough for me to be like, oh, I really want to beat this. Unless like the zones after the part like that I'm on get really really difficult. But obviously there's a lot of replay value there. You can keep replaying it. I know a lot of people who like a lot of like gamers or streamers or whatever YouTubers like to try to do like single live runs where they try to beat the entire game on one life, which is entirely possible. So it's definitely a good game. Like I don't think anyone can say Spelunky's a bad game. So like if you know you'll be into the genre and you think you'll know you'll like it, then I'd say definitely buy it at full price. Like it's definitely worth the price. But if you're not too sure like me, just whenever it hits 50% off or maybe even 25 or 33, I would definitely consider buying it. So, yep.
Cool. All right. So and do you have any final remarks on it, or?
Any final remarks? I mean, no, I guess not. Like, it's a super fun game. It is what it is. Like the gameplay that you just watched. I mean, that's pretty much what the game is. So, I mean, it's a fun game. It looks good. It sounds good. It plays well. The controls are tight. like there's nothing I can really say that's bad about the game. So, yep, good game.
All right, cool. And so we're gonna go on to the game that I played, which I could not remember the name of this game for the longest time, and it's The Useful Dead. And basically, it's a puzzle game. It's like a small indie puzzle game that I got in the latest Big Bad Bundle. So I think it was Big Bad Bundle 2. But yeah, I really like this game. It's pretty fun. So basically, how it goes is, as you can see in the media center, that's kind of how the game looks. Obviously, you have a set number of lives, and it's a puzzle game. So you have to get from point A to point B by only using a certain amount of lives. And how it works is, so you can see the gap right there. So on your first life, you have to purposely die like midway. So on your next life, you can jump on top of that body to get to the other side. So it's kind of like a lot of planning of planning ahead on what you're gonna do with the certain like lives that you have to reach the end. I mean, it's a very straightforward game like that. I played for I don't know, like an hour and a half. None of the puzzles were too difficult. I got through them pretty fast, but I still didn't get to the end. So it's a decently long game, which is really surprising for it being like an indie game. I figured it would only be like maybe 45 minutes long. Nothing stands out about this game. I mean, the artwork is good. It's not bad artwork. It's good, but it's simple. The puzzle designs, yeah, the puzzle designs are like simple. Everything's simple, but it's not simple in a bad way. Like I said, the game's very straightforward, and that's what I really like about it.
It looks like it knows what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't try to be more than it is.
Yeah.
The designer had like a clear idea of what he wanted and decided to go for it, which I really can appreciate, because a lot of indie games, they try to make like the next like Limbo or the next Braid, and they fall short. So that's why I really liked it. He had a good idea for a new mechanic in a game, and he went with it. It's simple enough. Like I said, I got this in the Big Bad Bundle, which I think it was the first tier, so it was like $2 or maybe even $1. And I got 2 other games with it, which this was definitely worth it. So I don't know, what's that, 33 cents? It was definitely worth the 33 cents.
Is this on Steam or is this DRM free or what?
I got it DRM free, but I think you can get it on Desura.
I thought, okay, because I'm pretty sure I've seen this on Desura before.
Yeah, you can get on Desura.
Also, it looks like, so like sometimes if you look in like the media center, the restart button looks like a back button on an Xbox controller, so it might also be on like Xbox Live, like indie or whatever. Like not right now, but like maybe like next slide or whatever.
No, it
whenever like it lines
it
up.
might be, but that's just the backspace button. Like
No, wait for it. I swear to God. No, I know what you're talking about. That's the backspace button there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It probably is.
So I think yeah. Unless it's just gamepad compatible, which it probably is.
Yeah.
But like that's what I'm saying. So okay, so do you know what the retail price is for it on Desura?
Actually I do not know, but I can check it out real quick while I talk a little bit more about it. But like I said, it's very straightforward. I like the way it looks, because I mean, it's kind of like a silly contrast that I guess a lot of games use, where it's kind of like cute animals and then like blood and stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
But do you have any like questions about it?
I mean, it actually looks pretty entertaining. I mean, no, I think what you said was like totally right. Like, right, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it looks like what it is. Are there like, how do they utilize like new levels and stuff like that? Like that level, I can look at it and I like understand it right away. Like you have to have 3 dead animals to float that like barge or whatever, and I guess they die underwater. Or well, I might be a little bit behind you or whatever. But like, are there any like cool things like about the game, like in the platforming or whatever, that like was like really cool, or was it all like pretty normal stuff that you'd see in other platformers?
It's very normal stuff, and it's very intuitive. Like the where you have to have 3 dead under it to push it up, or 3 dead up on top to push it down. I mean, it's very obvious. You're not sitting there like wondering how to solve the puzzle. The only time you actually get stuck is on actually performing what you need to do to complete the puzzle.
Mm. How are the
So
controls? Are
it
they good?
controls really smoothly. I think it's just directionals like moving, jumping, and then there's a kicking like button where you can kick like a dead animal, like to get it like maybe further than just
Okay.
pushing it. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, the controls. I mean, it's very simple controls, so you can't really mess those up. But how the game like progresses is they'll introduce like a new mechanic. It's very similar to how Super Meat Boy introduces theirs. I guess a lot of platformers do, where they'll give you like a very simple use of the mechanic, and then they'll start implementing it in with like previous mechanics. Um,
Cool.
so yeah, very very straightforward game. And I looked it up, and it's $2, normal price, which that's really cheap. It's
Yeah, it is. That's
so
definitely like something like.
I mean, even like full price, I would recommend it. I mean, $2 is it's not that much. You'll get a decent amount of playtime out of it, at least 2 hours. So
So wait, it's you said it's like pretty easy.
yeah, it's not very hard.
Okay.
Obviously,
I actually like that better though.
I'm not at the very end of it, so it could be harder, but I don't really see it getting too much harder than it is now.
Honestly, yeah, I think it's better for some indie games like this to be pretty easy, just so that it kind of engages their audience more. Because
Hmm.
there's nothing like making an indie game that's brutally difficult and then being like a huge turnout or turn off to all your audience, like who can't get far and just kind of give up on the game. So I
Yeah.
actually kind of like that because I was wondering because like obviously like Spelunky is like a hard, difficult game, but like I mean, a lot of people love it, but it's pretty widely known. But like a game like this, like I was wondering, like maybe if it's way too difficult, maybe people are turned off. But like I'm glad to hear it's actually pretty easy, because that was like appealing to me personally, because I'm pretty terrible at like platformers and stuff
Hmm.
and puzzle games. So yeah.
But I mean, like something for Splunky to be hard, um, it could be justified because like you get rewards, like um, like obviously through the money and stuff, but you know where the checkpoint is, so there's a clear goal to reach. But this it wouldn't really work, if it was like super difficult because there's no like reward for the difficulty. I mean,
I mean,
like,
you want to beat the game, but you
yeah,
know.
but I don't know. I feel like that's not a big enough reward to justify a difficulty. Like I think that rule like applies with almost any game where you need to have like kind of like a clear goal to justify
I'm,
the difficulty.
I'm assuming there's no story, right?
No, there's
Yeah.
zero story actually.
Yeah,
Which
I mean, I expected that to be like
yeah.
any puzzle game. You really shouldn't. Puzzle platformer, really, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
But I mean overall, I mean I'd probably say it's a good 7. It's a very solid game. It knows what it is. Just like with Splunky, there's no flaws in it. It's like a flawless game. Um,
Hmm.
the developers knew what they wanted to do with the game, and they kept it really simple, which I really liked. But I definitely would recommend it. If you see it in a bundle, definitely pick it up. But if you like puzzle games and kind of want something new, $2 is really cheap on Desora, so I definitely
What would you
recommend
give
it.
it? What would you rate it?
Like I said, a 7. It's a very
Oh.
solid. Yeah, it's a very solid game.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that was the Useful Dead. And also you could pick up a demo of it for free on Desora. So,
Yeah, Disor's usually really good about that kind of stuff.
so
I
I
don't know if
mean,
it's just them or the developers, but yeah.
you just download the demo if you have any interest in this game.
Cool.
All right. So, what game did you play next?
So the other one was they bleed pixels, and I've known about this game for a really long time, and it went really cheap on Steam's Halloween sale that they just had. So I decided like I'd pick it up because I kind of wanted to like I don't know. I'm really hit or miss with platformers as I was kind of talking about before. Like I sometimes like I'm like it's weird, but like I don't like Super Meat Boy, and it's because it's like way too difficult for me. Like I can't enjoy Super Meat Boy because the time it takes me to beat a single level is like absurd. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're just bad at platformers and stuff like that, but like something about it, like I just kind of wish it was like a little bit easier. Like I love Mario games because Mario games aren't nearly as hard as Super Meat Boy. So it's like pretty hit or miss for me. And so I picked up Beyblade Pixels just to see kind of like, where it was on that spectrum. And for 250, like I think is what I got it for. Like I even if I didn't like it at all and I only beat like the first level, like 250 is not a lot of money to like really cry about. So I picked it up and I started playing it, and I'm actually like in love with this game. It's so much fun. So like I'll try to describe the platformer for you because it's more Mega Man than anything, I think, which is kind of like weird. So it's an acrobatic platformer, which is it's sort of like Super Meat Boy in that regards, where you can wall jump, you can like do all these other kind of moves, and like it's like stuff like that, but it's more Mega Man esque than Super Meat Boy. I don't know, so it's hard to explain. So there's combat in the game that you can kind of see in the media center, where it's more like Mega Man esque, but it's melee. So you've got like a couple moves like you can use, like it's mostly punching, like it's one button combat, but like the way you utilize it with the analog stick like changes the way the moves work, and then you can do combos and stuff by like kicking them into the air and punching them a bunch and stuff like that, like the enemies. And then the one really cool mechanic I like about the game is that when you like fill a certain meter with like these like points, you can make a checkpoint anywhere there's no enemy really close to you. So you can kill a bunch of enemies and fill this bar up, and then like once you get farther, you can deploy the checkpoint like thing, and like that's like where your next checkpoint is. So like you're going to die a lot, and they know it. So it's like pretty cool that they like kind of give you this mechanic that like allows you to make checkpoints all the time. But like the game's just like so much fun. Like it's hard to explain. Like it's really forgiving, but it's really challenging at the same time. So like I'll explain like a part like that I was stuck on today when I was playing it. It's like you have to do a bunch of wall jumps. So there's like platforms with spikes on top, but they're floating and they're pretty tall. So like the fact that you can like get on the sides of these like towers that are floating, and you can kind of like hang there for a little bit. But there's spikes on the top, so you can't land on top of them. So you have to jump over into the other side of the wall and like wall hang on it. It's kind of hard to explain, and you have to do that from floating platform to floating platform. But you can't land on top of them or you'll die. And it was so difficult, and it took me so long. It took me like 20 minutes to beat that one section. But the cool thing about it is because I beat like half of the level, and I was able to get a checkpoint and deploy it right before that certain section. So I didn't have to keep beating the whole level again, like in Mega Man or other games, where it was just like where it would be so annoying. So it kind of justifies parts of its difficulty, where it doesn't actually turn me off to the game. Like it's not like in Super Meat Boy where I die on the one end of the level and have to go back to the beginning. I die at this section, and I just keep playing that section over and over until I get it. And of course, like your little score at the end isn't good, but it doesn't really matter because I'm only playing the game for fun. So the game is just so much fun. The combat's pretty good. The pixel art is actually really awesome. It looks kind of basic in the game, and I don't mind that, but there's a lot of little cutscenes and stuff because there's a story behind this game, and the graphics are super, super good there. And the game plays like phenomenally well. The controls and mechanics are so, so tight. And it's like so much fun. Like I really want to play this game. Like I really want to beat it. And like it is one of the better indie games I have ever played. Like it definitely has a spot. Like if I'm gonna look back at like the platformer indie games that are my favorite, this is gonna be on that list. So it's like super, super fun, and I really, really recommend it. So yeah.
So the pixel art of the game, I know obviously from the name and from looking at it, it's like obviously intentional. And I know you're a
Uh-huh.
big fan and you play a lot of games that use pixel art. How does it stack up compared to others?
Well, so this is actually like I think if you look at this, it looks pretty 8-bit. As you can see, there's not a lot of detail in anything on this. Some portions are a little 16-bit because like they have to show more emphasis on it or whatever. And the background's definitely like 16ish bit. And honestly, the gameplay graphics aren't like impressive. In my opinion, the design and like of it is really impressive though. Like the way that like a lot of the sections are black, and then the blood contrasts on that, and like the use of colors are really, really good. Is I guess what I'm kind of getting at. And so I do like that. But like honestly, like I think I would have liked it better if they would have put like a lot more attention to detail. Like I'm thinking like a Super Nintendo Mega Man game kind of pixel art into the actual game itself. If they would have done that, this game would be like a 10 out of 10 easy. But like I'm not docking like points off of the pixel art, but like there's nothing special about it. And then if anything, it looks pretty unimpressive. Like you look at it at first and you're like, well, the game doesn't look that good. But the game's fantastic. So you really have to play it to get into it. But like Yeah, I'm like a big connoisseur of pixel art. Like I love Cave Story. Cave Story is like my number one pixel art like ever. Just because like it's like 8-ish 16-bit, but like the colors are great. It looks great. You can identify like anything like in the game. Like everything looks awesome. So, um, it's definitely not my favorite, but it's good. Like I'm okay with it. Uh, and it's just fantastic. Like it's really like its gameplay is like unchallenged and unmatched. And it's definitely unique. There's not many Melee, Mega Man-ish like platformer games that are brutal and stuff like this game. So like there's not really alternatives to it. So like it's like super super fun in that regard. Like you're kind of playing like an individual piece of like a game. So it's awesome. Like I highly recommend it. Like I think I give it like a 9 or 9.5. Like it's so much fun. And there's like again I'm saying like I'm bad at platformers and I suck at them, but the way this game like plays like how you can make checkpoints wherever you go, and like it's so forgiving and so difficult, and that's what I like. It's kind of like Dark Souls in a way, where it's the game's so challenging, but it's also really forgiving. Like it's not so difficult that the game's like impossible, um, but you can kind of like slowly progress your way through the game, and I really like that. So yeah, I like again like I give it like a 9 out of 10, 9.5. Like the music isn't that great, but the music isn't bad, so like I don't really dock it for anything. Like it's not like whoa, this music's crazy. It's not like Hotline Miami or anything,
Hmm.
but it's not bad. It's not like wow, this music's irritating. So other than that, like the gameplay is phenomenal. The gameplay is like truly amazing. The story could be good. I haven't beaten it yet, so I don't know. There's a story to this game, and the art design's pretty good. So yeah, like but the gameplay, like I think what matters most about this game is the gameplay, like and that is phenomenal. So I give it like a 9.5. It's like it's definitely one of my favorite indie games I've ever played.
Nice. And how much did you pick it up for again? And would you pay for full price for it?
I picked it up for 250 on the Steam Summer Sale, and I will check right now to see what the full price is. But now that I know it's this good, I would definitely buy it for full price because it is a phenomenal game. Um,
I mean, just from the slides, I really think it looks
oh,
really
I think
cool.
it's $10 full price. So it's pretty. It's on the cheap side of indie games.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's super super good. I do play it on a gamepad though. I only play platformers on a gamepad. I don't like a keyboard.
Hmm.
Um,
I think it's
but
kind of
I
expected though, like for a platformer. Most of them like you should play on a gamepad.
yeah, like it's just the gameplay in my opinion. It's just so fun. Like the gameplay is so much fun. Like I have a hard time like getting around like how much fun I have playing it. Like even when I'm dying. I'm looking at the reviews for it. Like general consensus, it's like a 7.5, which is pretty good. But I still think it's so much better than that. Like I know it doesn't appeal to a lot of people. Like a lot of people like their action out of their platformers. They don't like or combat, I should say. People don't really like combat platformers where it's like, oh, I have to also like fight enemies too now. But it's just a lot of fun. Like I recommend it, and for $10 full price, like that's not even that much for a full price game. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's two thumbs up. I would recommend it to everyone I play, and I will, because it's actually so much fun. Like I can't keep repeating that enough because there's so many times where I've like played an indie game and it started off like pretty well, and then like I got like pretty close to beating it. And I'm like, oh, I'm not really having fun with it anymore. I gotta beat it. But this game's like, I love it. And like even though it took me 20 minutes to beat a part in the level today, and I was like, oh, this is getting aggravating, annoying. But like when I beat that level, man, I'll tell you what, I was fucking proud of myself. So yep, They
All
Blue Pixels, awesome game.
right, so I know, obviously our good friend and someone who is always a guest on the podcast, Leo. He is a big fan of platformers. So, what do you think his reaction would be to this game?
Well, I talked to him about this, and I've already told him to buy it like 100 times because I love it so much. And he says no, he doesn't want to get it because, first off, he's a weirdo. I don't understand. No, seriously, but he's like, I don't like the way it looks, which is like the most stupid way to say that. Like, I have that like kind of shitty preconceived notion sometimes where I'll look at an indie game and I'll be like, oh, this game looks like garbage. Like visually, like it doesn't look good. It looks stupid. It looks lame, and like I finally bring myself around to buying it or something like that. Like that happened to me with Rogue Legacy actually. It was like the Steam Winter Sale, not No, summer sale. Sorry, it's the last Steam summer sale. Rogue Legacy was like $5, and I looked at it and I was like, it doesn't like the graphics don't look that good. It just doesn't look that great, or something about it didn't look too good to me. And there I am. I'm like, oh, I wish I bought Rogue Legacy because that game looks amazing. So, like, I just kind of like, I just want everyone to play this game because it's so much fun. But yeah, like again, the graphics don't look impressive and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, Leo was all like, dude, I don't like combat platformers, and I'm like, dude, it's fucking great. And then I was like, do you hate Mega Man? He's like, no, I love Mega Man. And I was like, nah, I was like, Leo hates Mega Man. So, um, Mega Man's great though, by the way. Mega Man easily some of the best platforming. So, yep, they bleed pixels. Everyone go buy it right now. Unless you want to buy Spelunky, that's fine too.
All right, so the next game, which is the game I played, is Super Ninja Warrior Extreme, and it sounds like a really kind of dumb name. I mean, to be honest, but I really like the game. I did buy it in that bundle, so again, it was like 33 cents. If you think about it through the bundle. So basically, as you can see in the media center, it's
Was this also DRM free? Is this on Steam or Desora?
it was DRM free.
Okay.
I think you might be able to get on Desora though. I'm not sure about that, but it is a platformer game, and it's pixel art, but it's pretty well done. It's nothing like too over the top pixel art, but it's pretty good. And it's a platformer, but it's also a combat platformer. So the mechanics in this game are basically you jump, you have a sword that you can use, and then there's wall climbing into it. And every game or every stage is the same in regards of like what the goals are. It's basically just make it to the end however you can, and to beat it you have to kill the boss. But the boss is always the same. It's not like he has more health or he does different things. He always has like the same amount of health, and he always acts the same. The enemies are I don't know like how to say this, but dumb, if that makes any sense. Like they aren't AI. They're just programmed to do like random acts. Like they don't interact with you at all.
Oh, like they're programmed on rails, kind of.
Kind of, but if you restart it, they won't do the same thing. So it's kind of like random, like things that they do.
Oh, that's really weird then.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
they'll repeat an action, but once like in that specific level at that specific time. But then when you die or whatever, you restart the level. They will then perform a different action, but keep repeating that action until the level changes. Right? Is that what you're saying?
No, no, no. So like, all right. So like they'll like maybe move to the left, move to the right, slash. But if you do it again, maybe they'll like move to the right, and then throw a knife. Like
Yeah, and that
yeah,
changes
yeah.
every single level.
Yeah,
But they'll
yeah.
keep repeating that action.
Yeah, they'll keep doing different things, and there's I think three different types of enemies, or I guess four including the boss. But like one throws knives, one slashes and has like a little like explosive attack that's like in all directions, and then there's like a little flying like creature, and then that only moves like left and right, or flies left and right. It doesn't fly up and down. And then the boss, he has an explosive attack and a slash attack, and he takes I think 3 hits before he dies, and everything else takes 1. But it's a pretty challenging game. The levels aren't super long, where it's very Super Meat Boy-esque. I mean, it kind of even looks like it with the saw blades and the spikes everywhere. But you don't die nearly as much. It's not a super hard game, but it's definitely pretty challenging. You're probably gonna die on the level at least once. And like you were saying with 8 bleed pixels, it's difficult, but you can progress through it slowly, to make it a little bit easier.
It looks great.
Yeah,
I'm really
yeah.
into this. I'm digging this.
Yeah,
I might buy it. It looks fucking
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. It looks good, and it's pretty fun, but it doesn't keep you engaged really, just because it's kind of the same over and over. I mean, I guess the levels are different, but that's the only thing different. It's like you're always seeing the same enemies. The mechanics are basically the same. There's nothing too drastic that comes in. It's basically just throwing knives out of the walls and moving saw blades and stuff. So
Okay.
it's nothing surprising, but it's not a bad thing, I guess. This was definitely a game that I could see being programmed like maybe in a what was that contest called?
Like a
Game
game
Jam.
jam.
Yeah, this is definitely a
Yeah, no,
Game
that's
Jam
what I was
game.
looking at because it looks like they
Um,
took like a bunch of their like their art at like I don't know what to call it, like their assets, their art
yeah.
assets, and then they just kind of reused it. Like it looks like they made the game well. Like they knew what they were gonna do, so they made like a bunch of like art pieces, like the girders. You can see like the kind of like the iron girders, like the beige
Mhm.
looking things, and then like obviously the knife throwers and stuff like that, and like they just kind of like kept like designing the levels and stuff around that kind of stuff, and I like that. It's pretty like it's clever, and if they can do it right, then there's nothing wrong with that, right? As long as
Yeah.
it's like as they keep making it challenging but difficult, and you know I like it. But you know what I see you're saying. Every level kind of looks like it has the same flavor
Mhm.
because it does kind of reuse that stuff.
But I
So
mean, I wouldn't be so like upset like if this was a Game Jam game or maybe it was like someone's first indie game, then it would definitely be acceptable. Um, but I mean, like I said, it was like 33 cents. I can't complain. It was a very cheap game, and I did get some enjoyment out of it. I
what
played
is
it,
it? Wait, what's this game called again?
Super Ninja Warrior Extreme, and I played it for like I'd say like an hour, straight. I didn't get stuck anywhere, too hard, but it was definitely worth the 33 cents. I'm not sure how much it is full price. I would have to check. But I got a DRM free, so I don't think it's on anything else.
It's on Xbox Live Indie Arcade for $1.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Um,
I
yeah,
don't. It might. It's probably on Desora too, but it could just be DRM free.
but it definitely did feel like an Xbox indie arcade game, but like a good one because they have a lot of really bad ones to be honest.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I mean, for an
Um,
Xbox Live Arcade indie game, this is a good one. This is like one of the good ones. Um,
it
but yeah, I definitely feel like it's like a Game Jam game though.
if a single person made this, I'd be very very impressed. But like if a team made this,
Yeah,
I'd be a
yeah.
little disappointed. But like if one or two people or three people made this game, I think that's pretty impressive. Like
hmm I mean,
it
I would have to get a little bit more context on actually who made this game to make a really good like judgment on it. But like you said, if it was like one or two people that made this, or maybe someone like at a game jam, then yeah, it it's a well done game for that. But I mean, like if a team did this in like a couple months, then yeah, it'd be considered
yeah,
bad.
that'd be pretty disappointing.
Yeah, but I mean overall, if you can pick it up for $1, I mean there's no reason not to pick it up for $1 if you like platforming games.
I definitely think it's worth $1. Like
Yeah,
you'll definitely get even if you play for 30 minutes, like
yeah.
$1 for 30 minutes of entertainment. Like
hmm I mean
yeah.
even you can like probably check for the big bad bundle too. I don't know how long the bundle's gonna last, but if it's still up there, I mean it's $1 for 3 games, so 33 cents for this game I mean it's definitely worth it. But yeah, I mean overall, like I said, I would need a little bit more context to really decide on what I would rate this. But if we're gonna, if we're gonna like take, I guess like give it the benefit of the doubt, then I'd say it like a 6 out of 10. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, it was a good game. So we're giving it the benefit of the doubt, saying that it was like probably a single person or two people, maybe for like a game jam or something. Um, So yeah, I would definitely say 6 out of 10. I liked it. I'm not gonna play it probably again, just because there's no clear like goal to really get. There's nothing really keeping me going with this game. Um, and then also what I actually no, I changed it. I changed it to 5 out of 10 because
Oh no.
there is something I did not like about it. Um, so it uses one of those kind of like cheat saves where to save, like, you can't save the game, you have to enter a code to get to a level.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like they could have done without that. I mean,
That's pretty lame. Because you
yeah.
obviously know that there's just a finite number of codes, right? Because like games where you can collect stuff like the older Mega Mans, the code would actually change depending on what items you had.
Uh-huh.
So there were like a bunch of different codes for a bunch of different stuff because like it had to generate like a code for you based on like the items and stuff you had picked up. But you obviously know since there's no collectibles and stuff for this game, every single level is just the same code, like as it would be for someone else. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty lame. That means that they couldn't even integrate like a save system.
I mean, but like I said, that'd be understandable if it was a game jam and someone really need to make this quick.
Oh yeah, like if this was like a weekend game jam or something like that, I could kind of understand that. Just
Yeah.
because then you'd have to pixel art everything, like program it, and then make level design in like 48 hours or 72 hours, and like integrating a save system might take you 3 hours or something. So yeah, I guess,
But
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 it
yeah,
probably wasn't a game jam game
yeah,
since
but
it was on Xbox Live.
yeah. So, I mean, 5 out of 10. But I mean, still for $1, I would pick it up for $1. Um yeah. I'd pick it up for $1. It's pretty fun. But yeah, so that was Super Ninja Warrior Extreme. And I guess we're moving on to our last game, which is a game that we both played. I played quite a while ago. I think it was close to maybe a year and a half ago now. But it's a game that you didn't play. So talk about it. It's Limbo.
Yeah, so I have this like thing where I get really excited for games when they come out, and then I'll like kind of wash over them, and like years after that, I'll like pick them up again. I'm like, dude, this game's great. And this is one of those games. Like I'm a patient gamer, and it's Limbo. So Limbo came out a long time. Limbo's so old now, but it came out a long time ago, and I think it was like an Xbox Live Summer game, indie game. And I mean, it's like I think everyone kind of knows what Limbo is. Kind of like Spelunky. Everyone kind of knows what those games are. But it's like a very visually um, engaging platformer puzzle game. So I kind of like use both of those terms kind of loosely, because it's not a puzzle game where it's literally like solving puzzles, and it's not a platformer where you're really jumping from platform to platform. But it's a little bit of both, in sort of like a non obvious way. It's not like an obvious, oh, this is an obvious puzzle game, but it is. And same with a platformer. Like it's not like it's a Super Meat Boy, but again, you have to jump from platform to platform in sometimes a reasonable amount of time or a timed like allotted value. Anyhow, but it's a fun, great game. So I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'll just start saying what I liked. The atmosphere of this game and the like overall feel, I thought that this game was like easily 10 out of 10. Like that was so cool. I loved every second of looking at this game. Like it is just so visually engaging. And the coolest thing about it is like how the background and the atmosphere and the detail and the scenery, it just tells a story. Like you get a feel of the world you're in by the end of the game. Like you know what kind of like what's happening. Like it's weird. It's hard to explain because not a lot of other games do that. Where you play this game that is completely voiceless and completely not like social or whatever. Like there's like it's just like an isolated game. Like you're by yourself just going through this world, but yet at the same time you get a feel of what you're in. Like you kind of know how dark and desolate the world you're in. And it's awesome. Like I don't know if I've played another game like that where it does that so well. So that's something like I really liked about the game. Like it does that so well, and I think that's kind of like its signature trademark. Like that is what Limbo is. Like, and no one else has really done that too well. Visually it looks amazing. Your character has a billion animations for every situation. Like as you can see, the little guy on the rope right now, or maybe I'm a little bit behind the stream, but like when he's climbing over different obstacles, when he's doing certain other stuff, he has so many good fluid animations that like the character feels like it feels good to play as your character, and it looks good. Like it's just like I don't know, it feels very one-to-one kind of. So the game's slow, so obviously it kind of lacks what traditional platformers are, which are normally pretty fast. And again, the puzzles aren't very obvious, but there are puzzles. But the game's just awesome. Like I'll let you talk about it for a little bit because I can't really articulate it well. So tell us like
Um,
what you liked and
so
stuff.
yeah, I really like this game. Like you were saying, it feels really good. Um, like like it feels like you move very naturally in the game, I should say. Um, and I liked it a lot when I played it. I think I played it on in 2 sittings. So it's a really short game. It's not that long, but it was worth it. The puzzles aren't too difficult. There's some times where I did get stuck on puzzles, but they're not too hard. Uh, the puzzles aren't really repetitive at all. They're pretty unique. I don't think there's two that really are the same at all. I mean, they might have similar mechanics, but they're all pretty different. The game looks like stunning almost.
Hmm.
It's very well done. Especially since I think everything is in grayscale. I don't think there's any color in the game, is there?
No, because to emphasize like good in the game, they usually use white
Yeah.
or like sort of good.
hmm
But normally it's white. Yeah.
But yeah, the whole game is in grayscale, and which is a pretty tough thing to make a game that looks so good in grayscale. But I mean, obviously they did it.
Hmm.
I really, and I mean, just the use of color, or I guess a lack thereof. But so like obviously like the background is just like even the background's so well done, and it gives it like depth to it. Like I don't know how far you're behind in the stream of me, but like the forest in the background, it looks like an immense forest, like
Hmm.
with humongous trees, and it just makes you feel so small in the game.
Yeah, something I kind of want to like chime in on is like you were saying like how they did the entire game in like grayscale, and like it's like a very good like artistic choice. Like it's something that separates your game from a lot of other games. Like yeah, this game's gonna be black, gray, white. Like that's it. That's all it's gonna contain. But when you do that, you sacrifice the ability to visually appeal to people by using colors, right? Like as I was saying before with Cave Story, they got beautiful colors. The game's colorful. The game's fun. And you lose that ability. So what you have to do then is you have to make everything in the game beautiful. So the attention to detail, as you're saying, is insane. There's little grassy areas of the game. Like of course there's the water. The water ripples. The background looks amazing. There's like 4 layers of depth on the background. There's like the background, the background, the very background, and stuff like that. Like you can kind of see like the little hills on the background, and it's like all that attention to detail. Like it needed to be there to make this game just look so good. And like with all that detail, it really just like it makes the game what it is. It makes the game look good without having to use color and stuff like that. So
hmm
yeah, that's just what I wanted to say.
and it's definitely one of those games where if you look at it, even if you didn't play the game, you would know what game it is instantly. It's very unique.
Hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about the story. Um, so would you think? Because obviously there's no clear story into this. You have to kind of pull it out from just playing the game. So what did you think about it?
We either do spoilers or not. I mean, the game's really old. Should
Yeah,
we
yeah.
spoil?
All right. So I guess this is a disclaimer. So spoiler alert if you're
Okay,
if you're
so yeah,
watching this.
yeah, spoilers. So I was super into the whole like as I was saying like the whole kind of story they provide you or the story you make yourself. Like I was always like when I played it, like I was in this like weird messed up world where there's like that giant spider and there's those dudes trying to kill you with like that tire that's on fire and they're like shooting blowguns and stuff at you and they're trying to sabotage your entire way. And it's almost like you're in this like I won't say post-apocalyptic world, but kind of like where humanity now has to like scavenge around for themselves and they don't like outsiders and they're like close knit tight group of tribes of people
Wait.
who are
So I just
left.
want to chime in on that. But like you can definitely see that in the final like I don't want to say stage because there's no clear stages, but like the
Mhm.
final area, like it's like the rundown city.
Yeah, and so like I was going into this game thinking, oh, this is so cool. Like, I really like that. And like as the game progresses, you start to get away from and like in the beginning of the game, you don't really see much of humanity, and then you see a little bit of more humans, a little bit more, and then you start to not see any of them at all. and you start to get to like this more like industrial kind of area where there's like mine carts and electricity and all this other stuff, and you kind of get farther away from that. And while I'm not necessarily opposed to that, like I was kind of like getting this impression that I was gonna get to see like all this like cool, like I was get to see more of what the world we were in, but instead I was kind of put in a zone where I didn't get to see the world that they set up for me. I was kind of stuck in this factory area. Um, I didn't get to see more of what they had already introduced. And I thought that was kind of a shame because the ending, while I don't necessarily really like, I respect and I'm okay with the ending, which is of course, as the name implies, you're in limbo and it's infinite, so the game just loops, but in a really artistic way. Like that might have been like the worst way to say that, but the way the game ends, in my opinion, kind of implied that you got knocked like unconscious or whatever, or like or something like that, and then like when you woke back up, you're in the very start of the game. So I guess like okay, so I'll this is like a question towards you. Um, is there's like so is it are you like on a hunt for your sister? Is that like the premise of the game?
Um, I don't I don't know if it's like your sister, but it's implied that you're on the hunt for this girl that you see.
Okay, because yeah, I was talking to Leo about that, and he's like, "Oh, where it's like you like find your sister or whatever." I was like, "Wait. Did they say that somewhere?" Because I was like, if it really is your sister, I think that's something that they kind of missed in the game because there's never any talk about trying to find your sister or anything. There is that like one lady that kind of is the only good you meet in the game, right? There's like a
Yeah.
butterfly floating around her. It's the only time you've met humanity, and it has not been like evil.
hmm
So I'm actually going to.
I don't think it was implied that it was
No,
your
I didn't know it's
sister.
your sister. The description about the game. There's like a one sentence description of the bit about the game. It goes, uncertain of his sister's fate, a boy enters limbo,
Mm.
and that's the description of
But
it.
I mean, you get that like outside of the story, that it's your
Okay,
sister. Like nowhere in the story does it say
yeah,
it's your
which
sister. But I
kind
mean,
of.
it's not a big deal, I
It
guess.
really isn't when you think
Yeah.
about it. Like the same kind of principle like applies. Like you're kind
hmm
of searching for like the only good left in humanity or whatever it was. So again, like as I was saying, I guess we should go back to it. I'm upset that the game didn't go more into the direction of the dystopia of what humanity is now. Or I wouldn't say that, but more like the anarchy or the fall of humanity. And I just wish you would have done more with that. Like I'm not necessarily mad that they didn't, but like I thought there was maybe some wasted potential there. And while I'm saying the game's still really good, like I don't know. I liked the first half of the game a lot more than I liked the second half. So that's what I
I don't
thought.
know. I really liked it because I like the feeling of like of the game like seclusion and like you just being like on your own. And so when you even though like the humans are bad and you kind of want to see more of them, and then they just stick you by yourself again. So it's a very lonely game, and I think that was a good idea, that they did. So
Okay.
and especially like being in the factories, it like you're in these humongous industrial factories, and there was no one around, so it definitely like amplified the feeling of being alone in the game. I think that was a good idea.
Okay. So what do you think about the ending?
Um, I like the ending. Because the whole game itself didn't have any very strong. Like, it didn't have it had a story, but it wasn't laid out for you. Like, they didn't spoon feed you a story or
Hmm.
anything. Especially since there's no dialogue, no anything. So you have to find the story, and I think that applies to the ending too. Like, you have to find kind of like what you think the ending is and what it like really means. I mean, it's easy to find what it means because I mean, you can imply that yeah, he's in limbo, and it's on repeat, but it's something that you kind of have to kind of search for a little bit. I like it.
I didn't like the way he entered Limbo. Like the way the game reset. I thought that was weird as shit.
Wait,
You know,
so
like the
no, explain a little bit more. Like, why didn't you like it?
okay. I I like how they did like the looping thing, but I feel like it should have been stronger or something like that. Like, so the way the game ends, if you don't know, the last like puzzle is a gravity change puzzle. So like it's weird. So like there's like this you can walk over to like this like pane or like this boundary, right? There's no invisible boundaries in the game until that point. So you kind of know something's weird, right? You're like, okay, well, maybe like it would be really weird if they just started adding invisible boundaries. So there's this invisible boundary. You can walk up to it and can't go through it or anything like that. And the puzzles you really quickly like you need to change momentum. So the gravity's changing like this, and what happens is like there's an area up here, right, that you need to get to that can change the gravity to go this way. So you solve the puzzle and you go like down and then up, and then as soon as you hit like the button, it changes gravity again. You go back down, right, and you gain momentum into that like pane of glass or that invisible boundary you can't get into. And like your character kind of hits it, and the reason I say glass is it kind of shatters, right, which could be metaphorical. And he hits it and he shatters. And the cool thing I noticed about the game is that's the only time your character closes his eyes except for when he dies. So when your character dies, his eyes shut, his eyes are white, and your character kind of closes his eyes, and it's this really slow sequence of your character kind of floating, or like not floating, flipping in air, and he hits the ground, and if you kind of paid attention, or if you beat the game all in one sitting, or within 2 days of itself, you'll notice the game starts with a boy lying on his back, kind of getting up, and the game starts, and that's where the game loops. You are back in the same position that you were before, and I don't like how it does that. I like the premise that the game restarts, but like I think maybe it would have been a little bit more powerful if you kind of like ran into that girl again, and then like you hit the glass or whatever. Maybe you could see through the glass and see the girl or whatever, or something like that. I don't know. I think that would have made the game a little bit more powerful, but like I still respect the way it did. I thought it was weird. Like there was a little bit of a disconnect for me, where the part where you're like, what the hell am I doing? I hit this pane of glass in a factory. Um, So I don't know. Like I think maybe it would have been cooler. Like I like the part where it loops, but maybe like you run into the girl again, or maybe you fall off. You run over to a girl, like maybe you're on a bridge, something cliche, right? And the bridge like kind of collapses or something, and then you like fall and hit your head, and you wake up in the forest again, or something like that. But like something where you see what could have been, and then it's gone. And I think that would have been a lot more powerful. But
Because,
that's just me.
I mean, alright, so I'm gonna kind of talk about the ending. I like the
Mhm.
ending. I thought it was good because you're given this clear, well, I mean, I don't want to say clear, but you're given this goal, like it's this girl, and obviously she's good, and you're searching for in this world that's kind of evil, and she's the only like good left, and so you're finding her and you're trying to find her, and then right when you think like you made some progress and you might find her, you hit this glass pane, and all the stuff happens, and then you get back to the beginning. It really reminds me, because I obviously it's called Limbo, and Limbo's like a religious kind of thing, but it really reminds me of the story of like Atlas, like how he has to roll like the boulder up the hill, and as soon as he's almost at the top, it like always falls back down on him, because that's like his
Mhm.
punishment, and so it really reminds me of that. So like he gets there and he's so close like to finding this girl again, and then as soon as he's there, like he shatters the thing and he passes out and he wakes up at the very beginning again, like kind of forced to do it all again.
Well, that's the thing. That's the kind of thing I would argue about. Like with Atlas, it's an obvious thing. Like he gets to the top of the hill, he sees the top of the hill, he thinks he has the ball at the top of the hill, and then it rolls back down. But the end of Limbo, you don't actually. You don't see the girl. That's what I was saying before. You don't know that's the end, and that's where I kind of find the disconnect.
Hmm.
Like if you saw that girl on that other side of the pane of glass, you saw that girl on the other side of the bridge. I was like, that would be kind of like Atlas. You visually see you're there. You're like I'm there, she's there, and then all of a sudden it restarts. And that's like that's the only thing I have with the problem with the ending is like it was so sudden, and I didn't know I was beating the ending, and I thought that's what they did wrong. Like I feel like I should have known I was at the end, or I should have known that maybe like this is where like I don't know. That's just kind of what I thought. But like again, like I thought the ending was pretty good, so
Hmm.
like whatever.
I definitely understand what you're saying though.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I think that would have been like a better idea. But then again, I can't really say for sure because I don't know exactly what the developer had in mind for
Yeah,
what they wanted for the story.
this is a really artistic game, so like
I mean, we could be missing something.
yeah, there could be something deeper meaning behind this
Yeah,
entire game.
but I mean, I do think that would be a good idea to put in there. But I mean, like I said, we could be missing something, but yeah,
Hmm.
I like the idea. I think it would definitely change the game up a little bit more and give it a little bit different meaning.
What would you give this game out of 10?
Out of 10,
Out of 10, or out of 100,
out of all right,
or
all
a
right,
thousand,
all right,
whatever you want to change it
all
to,
right.
but probably out of 10, or
So,
one if you want to change it out of one. Give it decimals.
um, so this game out of 101, I would
Out
give
of
it
101.
a 96.
Wow.
I mean, it's a
I'm
really
gonna
good game. It's a
I'm gonna
very
get crucified.
it's a very unique game. There's nothing like this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, and it also kind of it's like I said, it's a unique game. It's fun, it's short, it's sweet. I love the game. I definitely
Okay.
recommend it to everyone.
I gave it like an 8, or like an 8 out of 100. He was pretty bad. No. I give it an 8 because like um it's awesome. It's unique, as I was saying before, like atmosphere you don't get in any other game. Uh, a lot of the puzzles, in my opinion, are bullshit, and you have to be thinking extremely far outside the box in order to comprehend some of these. And some of these, like, they introduce their own mechanic that you've never seen before. And that happened in two situations, and I, for the life of me, could not figure it out. And one was like it's really hard to explain, but like you go down this electric rail with this minecart, right? And you're on this slope, and the minecart wants to touch this button. The button sets a platform above you. It turns the electric platform on, right? So you have to find like you have to like push the cart up really quickly, get on the cart, get on the platform, and run across before the cart comes down and hits the button. And I tried that for about 30 minutes. Could not figure it out for the life of me. Had to look up a video, right? I was defeated, but I wanted to keep playing the game. I was like, okay, I accept the fact that I couldn't beat this game by myself. And what you had to do was get on top of the cart, push the wall that was not going to move, and have your feet underneath you push the cart back. I would have never figured that out, and I thought that was utterly stupid. I thought that is the first time they used that mechanic, and I thought it was the stupidest thing I could have ever run into. And for that, I thought that was a lot of bullshit. And there's some other puzzles that are really, really, really not obvious. And why they shouldn't be too obvious, you shouldn't be spending more than 10 minutes on a puzzle in a game like this.
Hmm.
Um, and so, like, for that, like, I have to really deduct points. Like, the gameplay at some points, like, as the puzzle is, or I guess that's more game design. The game design is just lacking some points. Like, obviously, visually it's not, and artistically it's not lacking, but, like, game design-wise, some points are pretty stupid. So, I give it an 8. I think that's pretty justifiable.
Hmm.
Given that, like, everything else was perfect, it's just that, like, some parts of the game design are pretty fucking bullshit. It made it, like, it's not like it's just hard. It made the game unfun for me. Like, I wasn't enjoying my time with the game. Like, I was getting frustrated. Like, I was just like, oh, well, I'm done for the day. I'll just play Limbo tomorrow, or whatever. And like, I think if a game does that, like, there's gotta be, you gotta look at it and be like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that could have been fixed playtesting. Like, I know indie games obviously it's hard to playtest, but I cannot imagine a bunch of people figured that out by themselves. I don't. Did you figure that part out by yourself?
I figured out all the puzzles by myself.
How long did it take you?
It took me, I think it was 2.5 hours. Like I do admit, I got everything pretty fast except for one thing, and it was at the very beginning with the box where you have to push it into the water, but you don't really have to push it in the water. You have to like climb up the tree and push the log off and then jump onto the log across the water.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
That was the
yeah.
only thing that actually got me really stuck because I didn't understand it, and I was on there for quite a while. But once I got that, I went through the game pretty fast.
Yeah, like a lot of the puzzles are really clever, and it's like they're really well done, and you enjoy it because you beat it maybe in your first or second or third try, and it's like, oh, cool, I got it. Like, I got a hang of it. That's really cool. Because a lot of the puzzles they don't really mean for you to do in like one try. They mean they like essentially want you to die or whatever. But like it's really cool when you figure it out like one or two times. But like when it's like your like 15th or 30th try on the puzzle, like the puzzle, like I don't know, like
I don't think I've ever gotten to that point though. I don't think I've.
I just thought that part where you push the cart back with your foot by pushing against a wall was the stupidest thing ever. Like I thought that was really unintuitive. Like, in no point in the game do you push against the wall for nothing. I don't know. Whatever. Like, game made me angry. But like, again, yeah, the game's good. I recommend it. It's got a $10 MSRP. I don't know if it's always been that price. I think it was 20 when it came out, but like
Yeah.
$10. It's one of the. You're never gonna play this game again, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like
but
I'm never.
it does go on sale a lot.
Yeah. I guess like if you really, I'd say go ahead and buy it at 10.
Hmm. I would recommend it at 10.
If it's ever on sale, definitely buy it. But like if you want to play it, like oh this game looks cool, then just buy it. Like you won't.
I don't think you would regret buying this game for
Oh.
$10.
Oh my webcam. They got mad at me.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, that just happened to me too.
They were like, dude, are you sleeping? I was like, nah, man, I'm talking. Okay. All
Um,
right.
But
Cool.
yeah, that was Limbo, and so we're gonna kind of close this out by talking about what we did, like why we did not make a video last week. So I don't really have any pictures for this, because we're just gonna go over it as shortly as we can. And so so basically just let me talk, because I know Grizzly will talk like for an hour if I don't try to shorten this down as much
But
as
can
I
I talk
can.
a little bit? Can I
Yeah,
talk
yeah. I'll tell you when. I'll tell you when though. All right. So what
Give
we
me, like,
did
3 minutes.
is we are part of the esports club in the college we're in. I mean, I guess I should just say it because obviously.
I think
probably,
we've already said about it.
yeah,
We're at
we-
Pennsylvania
so-
State University.
Yeah, so we go Penn State, and we're part of the esports club, specifically the StarCraft division. And we went to Canada, Toronto, Canada, for
Well, they prefer Ontario to
Whatever.
Toronto.
whatever.
Yeah. Where they're stupid ass loonies. All right, continue.
But we went to Canada, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, to go see the WCS grand finals or season 3 finals, and it was wonderful. So we spent the weekend there, and we got to see the games, and the crowd was like super hype, and obviously because of us, we were actually hyping the crowd up a lot. We met a lot of really cool people. We met Tempo. We met the casters Rotterdam, Mr. Bitter. Rotterdam, he's so tall.
So beautiful too.
All right, so we're gonna talk about, I guess, just a handful of like things that we did there because it was a really long weekend, to be honest, and we did a lot of things. So we're gonna kind of just talk about one specific event each. We're gonna bounce back and forth a couple times, talk about a couple different ones each. But all right, so Grizzly, talk about one moment that happened that you really liked. I know
well,
which one.
obviously,
Yeah.
I know. So I met Jadong, Lee Jadong, my future lover. And like, no, but if you don't know who that is, go look him up because he's kind of like the biggest deal in all of esports history. Yeah, he's a famous Brood War player who switched to StarCraft 2, and he's on Team Evil Geniuses, and he plays Zerg, and he's my idol. No, but he's like super nice. He's like, literally like, he's like. I wouldn't say Tiger Woods, but he's like the Phil Mickelson of golf, like to StarCraft. Like he's the old breed. He's the old breed. He's been there like longer than anyone. He's like has so many wins. He's so high paid. Like and he's like the nicest person ever. And it was like I got nerd chills meeting him. Like literally like I got starstruck. So that was my favorite part. You go ahead. You go. No,
All right. So definitely my favorite part of the whole thing was our friend Leo, obviously, that was on here.
Yeah.
He is a math major. And,
Yeah, I thought it was business, but anyhow.
Oh, well, it connects his story.
Okay, sorry.
All right, so he's a math major, and like probably I'd say the most famous caster and like biggest pinnacle of one of the biggest pinnacles of the community of StarCraft. Day 9 was there, and we went to go meet him. But we were at the back of the line, so we couldn't meet him. So he came back and like high-fived everyone. Was like, "Oh, sorry, I couldn't do all the signings and stuff." And so Leo was kind of bummed out about that. So he wrote a sign, and we're sitting like the front row of the regular seating, because we got there super early, mostly because Dan over here got us up early. But yeah, we were in the front row, and he had a sign that said, "Day 9, sign my math book," because he wanted Day 9 to sign his math book, and I think most of us were in the line to go see Rotterdam and Mr. Bitter to have them sign our stuff, and we're close to the front, and it was all of us, and we're talking with Tempo, because one of our people, he's super social or whatever, and he got Tempo to come over and talk to us. But so we were chatting up Tempo, and then all of a sudden we hear, "What is your name?" from Clutch, and he passes the microphone to someone, and he's like, "My name is Leo," and we all just start jumping up and just screaming Leo's name, and Leo's like, "Day9 signed my math book," and so they took him up on stage, and Day9 signed his math book, but it was just a really cool moment because, I mean, all these figures kind of seem not real, like in a sense, like when you just watch them like on online, or you just kind of hear about them, like they seem very unreal, and like there's always conversations like, I wish I could meet that person or whatever and see what they're really like. And I think this weekend really like connected the dots for us and like made these people really real, and we got to see what they really were. And when he went up there and got his math textbook signed by a person that I really like and he really likes, it was a really cool moment. Really cool moment. And I mean, even though I wasn't the one up there, I still felt I had like nerd chills the whole time.
Yeah.
And it made me feel really good to have Leo go up there and get his thing signed by Day9.
Yeah. Like as you were saying before, like that's like my second favorite thing about that entire trip, besides being Jade on, because nothing could beat that. Is when we first went into the venue, like the very first moment we went in there, and there was that point in time where it just clicked, like this is all real. Like you get that connection. Like I can see Mr. Bitter and Rotterdam casting. I can see Maru practicing on stage, and you get this feeling of like it's not fake. Like I don't know why it would be, but you get like that weird sense of realism. Like it's you're there, it's happening, it's all real. And I thought that was the coolest part. Like I'm at this thing, and like to be passionate about something like that, like even anything, like I thought it was just so cool. So.
All right, so we're gonna each talk about one more moment. So go ahead.
I don't know.
Come on.
Okay.
As we won't. I
guess like talking to Rotterdam was like one of my second favorite moments, because like I talked to him I think on day 2.
Yeah, it was
I think
day
I talked
2.
to him on.
Yeah, because we got our picture with him or whatever, day 2.
Oh, so it must have been day 2's morning.
Yeah, because it was before the games.
Yeah. So Dylan and I, we went and talked to him for a little bit, and so he's like super nice. He was all by himself. Like he wasn't doing any signings. He wasn't all by himself. He was with some other people, but he wasn't doing signings or stuff like that. He was just chilling. And then when we went to go get autographs with him and stuff like that, he actually remembered me. Like he like not like me like well, he remembered me specifically, like not who I am, my name is. But he like I told him I was from Pennsylvania and stuff, and we told him we were from Pennsylvania and how we came up to go see this. And when I was talking to both of them, like him and Mr. Bitter, he was like, "Oh yeah, he's an American," and stuff like that. So it was cool. Like he actually remembered me, and I was like, "Oh, I love you, Rotterdam. You're so handsome." And it was awesome. Like. It's like another cool thing is like I guess we just got lucky, I don't know, but like everyone there was super nice. Like they were the nicest people. Like that was so awesome. Like if they were all like dickbags, it would have like been so sad. But like they were all so nice, and I loved it. And yeah, so I guess like meeting Rotterdam was my second favorite part.
Yeah, and also Rotterdam's super tall. Like he's a giant. He's giant.
He's easily 6'4".
Easily.
I would say. Oh, you say he's 6'4", yeah.
Alright, so my favorite moment of the whole thing is, I mean, like, StarCraft is, like, such a big part of, like, who like, we are. Like, it's our favorite game. I mean, even, like, there was moments, like, I didn't play StarCraft, but I always watched StarCraft, and I always really, really liked it. And, you know, it's just something that me and Dan are both obviously super passionate about. And... on the last day during the finals, all like the whole club was sitting in like the front row of the finals, and we're all starting like these chants of like go Sulky and go Deer, and like it didn't even matter at that point who we were cheering for. Like I was cheering for both of them, and just to get the crowd hyped. And I think we were one of the loudest crowds. Like I don't think there was anyone louder than us. Like in other I mean like not in that crowd, but I mean like previous crowds.
Yeah.
Because,
like of MLGs and ASL.
Yeah, you could hear us on the stream, and like at points like the casters, like you couldn't even hear them. It was so loud. Which I mean, if I was watching it, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool, or whatever. But actually being there made it feel like a real sport, and which means a lot because, I mean, it's kind of a hard thing to tell someone like, oh, I'm gonna go watch video games be played. Like like even though like I'm super open about it and stuff, I still see that look like some people get like if I tell them like, oh yeah, I'm going to Canada to go see people play video games. They kind of look at me a little bit weird or whatever. And just like being there and like seeing how many people there were be so like hyped up about this thing made me feel really good to be like a part of like this community and stuff. And it made me feel like my passion was justified, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, like yeah, that was so much fun too. Like the fact that like after every single match, like no matter who won or who lost, everyone would just stand up and hit their thunder sticks together and scream. And like the one of the reasons we couldn't do a podcast on like Monday or Tuesday is because I didn't have a voice at all, and it's still a little iffy, but like we screamed, we cheered, and it was awesome. Like it was the coolest experience of like my life. Like going into like this like area where everyone is as passionate about you. Not passionate is as passionate about StarCraft like as you. They're willing to come out and watch this event live, and like they're willing to like scream and stuff like that. And I thought that was like that was where that is what you live for. You know, it's like that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. Like that's why you watch and why you play and why you care about it. It's for like those kind of moments. So yep.
Yeah, definitely one of like the best weekends of my life, easily.
Easy. Yeah, easy.
But I guess that's it for the podcast. So we're on like an hour and 16, so I think that's a good time to
Okay.
stop it right here. So
Announcements.
yeah, you go ahead first. I'll close it out.
Okay. So, the reason we haven't really been like uploading content is because like with university, I don't know why I just called it that. I'm not like European. But with university, like we had to like get our homework and stuff done and get like projects and our assignments due like for that weekend because we couldn't obviously do anything on that weekend. And then plus like if we had to do a little bit of catching up, we really couldn't have done anything like this week. So I definitely have like a ton of videos on the back burners. I have one that's like it's been almost ready to be done and for like 2 or 3 weeks, but like I couldn't of course record because my voice was dead. But I'm really gonna try to get an indie game spotlight out this week. Also, I'm going to try to stream more, whether it be Hearthstone or StarCraft, and I think I'm going to try to get a StarCraft video out sometime this week too. It's gonna be a shorter one, but I have a pretty good idea about like it's gonna be about. So look forward to that. But yeah, I'm gonna really, really, really try to get that indie game spotlight out, just so I can move on to like other indie games and do spotlights about those. So those are my announcements, and then I guess I'll do shoutouts as well, just because we can get this over with. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the Twitch and our YouTube and whatever else at Arctos Gaming. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone, and support WCS in StarCraft because that is the best esport ever made. Yeah. So thanks for watching.
All right, so I don't really have too many announcements. I said I was gonna make a video, and I've been kind of putting it off, obviously, for similar reasons, a lot of schoolwork, trying to put stuff together. I'm gonna try to work on it. I can't really guarantee when it's gonna be out. I'm still having a hard time formulating kind of like what I want to say in the video because it's it's very kind of deepish content, I guess. So expect that sometime. I don't know when, but expect it sometime. Next week we'll probably have another guest on. It'll probably be Leo, but we'll have another guest on. But yeah,
Probs, Leo.
thanks for watching and support all of esports. Support any esport you want.
Specifically StarCraft.
Yeah, mostly StarCraft. But if you like
But
fighting games, go watch a fighting game or something.
You like Street Fighter 4 specifically.
Well, I mean that's kind of the only fighting game. But if you like, I
Just like poo.
but if you like any esport, go support it. Go out and see a live event sometime. I
Go
would
buy their merchandise because you
Yeah.
get that sick swag and you'll
Yeah.
be giving them money.
buy merch.
Buy merch.
Subscribe to our Twitch and YouTube. Because that definitely seeing like another subscriber or another like follower on Twitch.
We feel it in here.
Yeah, it definitely
our
motivates
hearts.
us to make stuff and put out more content. So yeah, thanks for everyone who watches our stuff and follows. And we'll see you guys next week.